Welcome to the Forum on WSMI. I'm your host, Sean Bellent. Recently, Litchfield School Superintendent Dr. Kelley McLean had an update on the childcare assistance program, which helps cover tuition costs for about half of students enrolled in the program. There was a federal announcement proposing a temporary freeze of certain social service funds, including funding sources that support the Illinois Child Care Assistance Program. A federal court has issued a temporary restraining order, and funding is continuing as normal while the matter is being reviewed. We're taking a closer look at the program with Kelley Walker today. We'll not only talk about the funding situation, but also the benefits of Make It. Well, Kelley, just how long have you been at the district now?
This is my 18th year. I started out part-time, told I would never go full-time, that it was, not enough kids there or whatever, but we've grown through the years and became full-time. And then when my director retired, then I became the director full-time. And that was 10 years ago.
So tell us the history of Make It.
I believe it started in 2001, so this would actually probably be the 25th anniversary, but I can't find the exact time because we have grant papers that say 2001 and we have other papers that say other stuff. So anyway, so about 25 years. They started out as a tutoring program from what I understand, and then evolved into more child care. It was started on a 21st Century grant, which paid for everything. So then it was all tutoring, but then it became more child care because we no longer had that grant. And it's evolved into now a before and after school program as well as an all-day summer program.
I remember in the 90s there was all this talk about welfare to work and all that, but the one thing people injected into the conversation, it was like for people to do that, especially with more single-parent households, you have to have a little help on the child care side. Mm-hmm. And it seems like you really paved the way for some families over those 25 years to change their lives and change the course of their family's history.
I hope so. We have kids that come from kindergarten all the way up through. And we also have a program that we call the Student Aid Program, which is for somebody who's been coming for a while that we know will be helpful. And they go through in the middle school, we have the Student Aid Program. And so they come and basically they do the things the other kids do, but they also kind of do a job training. They do some of the, they help serve snack, they help clean up, just different things like that. And we actually have had some students that came all the way from kindergarten through 5th grade, then became student aides, and we actually have one that's done that and is now working for us, and she's a junior in high school this year. I think she's a junior. Yeah, junior.
So that's neat, kind of like athletics and other aspects of extracurriculars. You have people in the pipeline to help the new kids in the program.
Yes.
And I can imagine that's a great growth opportunity. I mean, you come in with whatever issues a kid has, and all kids are looking for just a leg up, fit in, and find a purpose, a path. And I have to think being a mentor is it's got to be an incredible feeling.
It is. I love my job. I get to see most of the kids grow up. And then, like I said, they come back to me. And I've heard some stories. I don't know for sure because a lot of times I lose track after they leave the program. But I've heard some stories from individual people of the difference that we've made. But there's others that I've heard from other people. There's one boy that had a lot of issues, and we used to have a cooking club, which we're going to be doing again this summer. And I heard because of that cooking club that he wants to be a chef and is going to school to be a chef. So I think that's pretty cool.
Well, the whole thing, when I ran across this, I was impressed because I'd already heard the tales of Camp Panther and how this school district makes summer so productive. And then just seems like it's the same vein where you're not only giving kids some lessons over the summer, but inspiring a hunger to learn.
I hope so. Our theme this summer is Digging It, which is going to be focused on paleontology, dinosaurs, rocks and fossils, anything like that, beach, sand, but in gardening. We're going to have a gardening program through the Montgomery County Extension Office. But also, digging it, anything they find that's fun. So for example, on Mondays, we'll have Math Monday in the morning, maybe do some coloring with the classics, which they just listen to classical music and color quietly. Other fun activities in the morning, and then in the afternoons, they go to the pool. And then Wednesdays is when the Montgomery County Extension Office will come, and they do that, and among other lessons and other fun things. And then we do what we call Wet and Wild, which is basically just playing in the sprinkler. And I have different staff members, the school staff, not my staff, or parents that talk about how it's almost like they're doing the things that they would do at home if they were able to be at home. Play in the sprinkler, go to the pool, go to the museum, go to the park. We do we do a huge variety of things.
I have to think there's something about that, the lessons learned, the fun times that I can imagine it's also a moment of social growth. Smaller, I wouldn't use the term class size, but a smaller group, and I can imagine there are a lot of positive aspects, and kids build up a little steam for the fall.
Well, we continue to. We go to the library every week, so they read, they do math, they will be doing science, obviously, a lot of it this year. And every year is a little different. But so we continue working with them, learning. But we also encourage the social aspect, the enrichment, but also the older kids working with the younger kids, because for the most part, our group stays together. So we have, like I said, from kindergarten up through 5th grade, and sometimes even a little bit older. The older kids just jump right in and help the younger kids, and like I said, it's kind of like being my shirt says we make it a family, and I do feel like it's a little family.
I understand funding concerns, and I know that can be the nature of the beast with anything in education, but what are you facing on that front? What are the latest developments as far as funding and how that could potentially impact the program?
Okay. I looked up on the DCFS website today just to see what the latest update was, and it says the update on the temporary restraining order that blocked to freeze funding for essential childcare services. On Friday, January 23rd, a federal district court extended the temporary restraining order, stopping the federal freeze, while it considers whether to order a longer injunction that would prevent the funding freeze until a final order is issued. As a result, we do not anticipate that funding will be impacted immediately. During this time, all services should continue as expected. So I'm hoping that we don't have any issues, but we always do have funding issues anyway. So I'm already getting grants and applying for grants and stuff like that. I was trying to go a little bit further this year. Well, right now we have 38 kids. 19 of them receive funding from Community Childcare Connection, which is low-income families, parents who work or go to school, and then they get help with their childcare. Some of them have a copay of 50 cents, and I think my largest one is like $123 that they pay a month. And then the rest of it is paid by the state. But if they don't have, right now they're used to paying 50 cents a month. And if you go from that in the summer, it's $35 a day, plus any trip fees and stuff like that. So there will be issues. And if they're already, needing childcare and can't pay for it, how are they going to keep their job if they can't, So I'm working on getting more funding, more scholarship money. Hopefully it won't go into effect, but if it does, I hope to be prepared so that we can help those kids continue to come and help those parents keep their jobs.
So to be a part of the program or get your kids enrolled or to find out more, what's the process?
You can contact me, Kelley Walker at litchfieldpanthers.org. I'll send you paperwork, fill it out, and right now they are still taking applications for Child Care Connection. So if you think you would qualify for that, I can get you the application for that as well. Fill it all out, return that to me with the registration fee, and your spot's saved.
It just seems to me it's just a unique learning situation too, because it's not the same structure as a school year. That it's almost like I don't know, a field trip mindset. It goes that far, but kind of in that direction.
Akin to a camp, I would say. I think we kind of run it like that. Like I said, we'll have lessons, but we also have crafts, and we also have playtime, and go to the pool, go to all that stuff. So we have field trips and people coming in every day. We have something going on. So
I can imagine it's pretty rewarding work. You really get to wear. I know you don't always get to wear your heart on your sleeve. You have to be, I guess, protect yourself in the education business because, there are highs and lows, and you're happy for kids, and then you see some kids struggle. This seems like a lot of win-win situations.
Well, we can do things, differently than the school. We're in the school. We're part of the school district. But like you said, it's considered extracurricular. So I can, help individuals. Oh, we have Club M, which is a teacher-referred tutoring program where they come in and they get help with homework. And so then that is on a scholarship. So that's another way we use scholarship money.
Have you seen, I heard this with Camp Panther, that they saw students in particular that just responded to the situation. You're not not in a bigger room. You just really get more attention. You just don't. I think it's easier to absorb information. That they just have incredible growth from May to August.
Well, in the schools, certain things they have to do it. Math, you have to do it this way. We can help them figure out different things if it's hard for them to do it the way they're wanted to do it. You know what I mean? More of the old-fashioned way. But then we can also help them apply it and change it and learn it. Because sometimes it's just the process of figuring it out, And once they figure out how to do it, then they can apply that, if that makes sense.
I know the big challenge growing up was, an A-track was a thing then, but it was like, well, okay, we don't want to hold back our, academic elite, but also got to get everybody moving forward, and it just seems like there's a better opportunity to troubleshoot. Okay, you can spot a kid who's struggling maybe easier than in a classroom environment where your head's on a swivel.
Yeah, we definitely can do that. And also we are in contact with the teachers. They can email us at any time. And Joe's having trouble doing multiplication times 2. Can you work on him with that? And we do. We try our best to do all that stuff. During the school year, we do homework 4 days a week. They have reading and homework that they do 4 days a week. On Friday, we have Fun Friday. But most weeks, we do 4 days a week of homework, and they sit down, do their reading, at least a half an hour for the younger kids, and the older kids usually between 45 minutes and an hour.
Anyone you credit with making this program a success? I know we've had Dr. McLean come on board in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Stability at the school board president slot, I know, helps with these things. Someone who has a sense of year to year what you've been through. Just anything about the Litchfield School District that makes us click.
Well, Dr. McLean has been very supportive since she came in, which is helpful. Adam Favor, who is the principal at our school, has been very supportive. I don't have a lot of relationships with the board personally, but Julie Abel, her daughter, used to come to Make It for a while. A lot of the teachers, their kids have come off and on. I believe we have the support.
Any other thoughts about Make It, or how people can contact you to find out more?
Again, you can contact me at kwalker@litchfieldpanthers.org. We're located at LECC, Litchfield Early Childhood Center. We are there before school, after school, during the school year. Kids are shuttled back and forth between the different schools, and we've run the full day program in the summer. We also have the summer food program through ISB, the State Board of Education, where any child can come in for breakfast or lunch for a free meal, which really helps us as well, because if we do have funding cuts, we'll still be able to provide the free breakfast and lunch for the kids, our kids as well as the community.
Any other final thoughts or anything else we needed to hit?
One of the things that I have said through the years watching these kids is my favorite thing is to watch them. They're having so much fun that they don't even realize they're learning.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation about the Make It program over at Litchfield Schools. That's Forum on WSMI. I'm your host, Sean Balent.